Hello guys, let's take a look at how we create props for Fireworks Mania. So I have my sample project open here with some of the stuff you might have seen from some of the other tutorials. But we're gonna do a new mod now with a few props. But because I'm not so good at making 3D models, and also to show how you can get stuff from the asset store, I will find something on that one that we can take a look at. And what I did was I went into the Unity asset store, I logged in with my account, searched for props or prop, and then I set it to free. And then you can see there are a few different assets here for various props. I thought this one looked pretty good, so I have opened that here, and it looks pretty neat. Very high detail actually, props, but so let's make a little street prop. What's it called? Street props prop for the game. So so what I do is that I click on this one, add to my assets, and once that is done, I can go in here in Unity, and all I'm showing here in the beginning is basically just standard Unity. It's nothing specifically to Fireworks Mania. So then I go into the package manager, and you can see I cheated a bit, but I go to my assets and search for street prop, and then it should show up. So yeah, street prop. Then I because again I cheated a bit, there was a download button up here. I click the download, it downloads the file, and then after it's download, you click import, and once you do that, you get some UI in a moment. So let's see here. Yeah, you get some UI with a lot of files here, and then you click import, and then you get the package in, which is typically put in a way so it's like a folder here in the root of your project. And you can see here we have product type collection, and this one came with 3 different asset packs for the different render pipelines. You don't have to worry so much about that, other than the game currently supports the what's it called, the legacy render pipeline, BI. I can't remember what it's actually for right now, but anyway, it's not the universal render pipeline, not the high definition render pipeline, it's the normal one. So the built-in, sorry, that's the one, built-in render pipeline, that's the one we are gonna use here. It's not every package that have this. Some packages only support URP and the game doesn't yet, so that won't work, but others the most of them defaults to the built-in one, so most of the packages should be fine. Anyway, so that was specific to this asset. But anyway, so in here in the built-in render pipeline folder, we have kind of a scene. Again, this is just for this package specifically. Whatever you get might be totally different. But here we can see all the different props. We can see usually they are, some with lights on, and like they're kind of like old and worn out, and then some clean ones here. So there are different things in here that we can encode, also different textures. So they're actually pretty high textured, these ones. But this is just a demo scene to show all the props in the package. So we don't really want that. Let's close this and let's find the sample scene, not to confuse ourselves. Okay, so now we have some stuff in here, and in here we can also see that there are different prefabs in here, like the cones here. We can see that there's different cone prefabs, but we'll work with them in a moment. Let's first create the mod. So let's go up here, mod tools, create new mod. Let's call it, so this is the name of the new mod. Let's call them street prop, and I prefix with my nickname because then it's easier to find and keep track of. So now I need to select where this mod folder should go in the project here, and I'll put it in the mods folder, which is this folder down here. And you can see the other mods are here. So we just do like that and create a mod. So now we have the folder, the mod folder. So basically everything that is in here, and everything that stuff in here referenced from outside will be included. It's not totally true, but basically what is in this folder will be included in the mod. Right now it's just a README file that we don't need for anything, but yeah, let's start out, because the first thing we need to do when we need something in the inventory is to create a definition. So we go to create Fireworks Mania definitions, prop definitions. And then let's say Laumania prop, yeah, just street prop maybe? Street prop, cone. Let's just do a cone here. So this is the definition, and that's basically the metadata around this specific item. First thing we need to do is to give it an ID. We can put in our own, but it's easier just to do like this, and then we just get the same ID as the name of the file, because that's typically how it's set up anyway. So let's call this street cone, maybe. And you see we get a lot of errors here, and the reason we do that is because we are missing a definition type. So we just go up to definition type, hit the little circle thing, and we don't see anything. That's because we need to unclick this one, and then we see all the different types we can pick from. And we pick the props, because that's where this one decides where it goes in the inventory. So now we have told it that it's a prop. We are missing an icon, we can wait with that. We have a name, and we have the ID, but we are missing the prefab. And the prefab is the actual item. So let's go down to our, because we need to have a prefab up here. So let's go on down and find one that we want to use. And we can see there is a cone clean, there's an old one and a used one. And you can see this specific package have kind of a clean one. That's this one, just a normal standard cone thingy. And then there is an LOD one. And LOD, it's not a specific Fireworks Mania thing, it's a Unity thing. It's called level of details, and that's because if you open this one, we can see here that this one have 0 to 4 level of details. And you can see the camera here shows how far the camera are away from this model. And the LOD 0 is basically the high resolution, not high resolution, but the high quality version of this cone. So with the most, maybe we can see it better if we look at here. So with the most detailed 3D modeling thing with polygons and stuff like that, vertices and all that. And then when we go to level 1, you can't really see it that much there, because it's the whole point is that the further away the camera goes, it switches to another LOD that have a lower quality. So if we go further and further away, the quality becomes lower and lower. You can't see it because we are far away. Let me go back to this one. But here in the corner, you can actually see the little. You can see that it's kind of changing. You can see here it says this has 1400 triangles. Then when we go to the LD1, now it's 1000, now it's 400, 300, 250, and cold, that's basically, now it's gone, it's not even been rendered. This is not specific to props or anything, it's a general Unity thing, as I said, and you don't have to do this. I just, by coincidence, picked a package that came with these built-in. So we can use this hopefully without anything special really. So let's try and go with this cone with LODs. So I'll take this one and drag it up here, and now I need to create my own. I could just change this prefab, but I want to have my own version of it really, I think, because we need to do something with it. It's not enough just to have this, it won't work, but we can try that in the game first. So right now we have this prefab, a reference to the prefab from the package. Let's right click that and let's unpack it. So now it changed it. You can see now it's not blue anymore. Now it just looks like the other stuff, and that's because now it's just a game object in here. Still have reference to some models down here, or actually some other prefabs you could say, but from this package. Anyway, this is the one we want to make our own prefab. So let's go to a street one here and let's create a folder for our prefabs. And then we can give it a name before we do that. Let's say Laumania _street prop cone clean maybe, and then move that one. And yeah, we can even put prefab in the name too, that's also fine. So let's put it down here. And now it became a blue one, you can see, because now it's a prefab. It's referencing this one here. So we can delete it up here because we don't want to make changes in the hierarchy here, because in a scene view, because that is only that instance and not the prefab that is actually changed. So what we want to do is that we want to open it up here, and here we can do some changes. But before we do that, let's first try and see how it works without these changes. So while we're here, let's generate a prefab like perspective from the front. So we get a little icon here we can use. Then we can go back to our definition, and we can do it many ways, but let's just do like click here. That's maybe the easiest. So we find the street prop icon here, and up here we need to go to assets, and then we need to search for Laumania, that's easiest, and then we find the street prop cone clean prefab, and you can see the path down here is matching our mods, the street prop mods, prefabs, and this. It's very important that you check this path, that you have the right one, because sometimes you can pick the one that is in this hierarchy, or pick a wrong one. So let's do it like this. Now we have that, and now we can actually build the mod. It won't work, but I'll tell you why in a moment. Oh, we forgot something. We forgot to set up the mod correctly, because right now, let's go to you saw that, export settings. This is where the mod is located, the mod asset directory. That is basically this directory here on your hard drive. And the export directory is where, when we build a mod, it should put the mod file. And it's very smart to put that in the local mods folder of the game. And the way you do that, or the way to find that, is you go into the game, press F1, and log folder. At least that's the easiest way to get it. And it open up the data folder for the game. And you just go in. You can see I have a lot of different folders because I've tested stuff and I've been on beta and single player, blah 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 blah. But you find a mods folder, which is here. If the game has just been running once, this folder will be here. You can see I have no local mods. So we go in here and we just copy this path here, and then we put it in here, and then we're ready to go. Let's just double check that we have the build set to file size. That's very important. Okay, good. So we have our definition. The definition points to prefab. We have an image, we have a name, ID, type, everything. Fine. Let's go up here and build a mod. It shouldn't take long because it's a fairly small mod. But as I said, this won't work, but I just want to show you that first so you can see, and I can explain why. So it opens up the mod folder as we just put in, and you can see we have a Laumania street prop mod file. So let's go in here. We can even see it here in the console. We can see detected mod file change. So you can see here that it's just detected that this file has been changed. And you can also see I have tested it before, but then I got disturbed in the recording and had to start over. But anyway, you can, in the console here, you can see that the file has changed. So it will be reloaded next time. So we go into single player, pick a map. Let's just remove all the other mods, and then we go in here. It's always a good idea to not have any mods loaded when you are doing this, because it takes a while to get in, then longer, and just to make sure that it's not other mods causing issues. So we go in here and we find our props, and we have a street cone. Perfect. And we click it, and nothing happens, you know. It doesn't close the UI, and it's just like there. And if we open the developer console, you can see that it's there's a lot of errors. And the reason for that is that everything in the game, being props and fireworks and stuff like that, everything that you can kind of spawn requires that the prefab have a rigid body and some colliders, because they need to be physics based to be able to pick them up and fly around and all that. So let's open up our prefab here, and then let's add a rigid body. So that's kind of what gives the physics capabilities to this object. It doesn't collide with anything because it doesn't have any colliders, but it have, you know, the logic for falling with gravity and stuff like that. So mass is the weight in kilograms. So let's just say that this weigh, I don't know, 5 kilos, I don't know. Let's say that. And now we need to have some colliders to this. So it can actually, because right now it won't collide with anything, it would just fall down. So we can do that in various ways. What I typically do is that I what do I want to do? We could let's see if we can do something like this. Let's create an empty one called colliders, and then I typically do a cube because that's the easiest. And then we can see it from the side here, and then we can. You always want your colliders to be as simple as possible. The beauty of using a cube here as a starting point is that you can see it's easier to see where it is. So let's see if we can do something like this, and we can move it up here. We can say here. I'm just basically scaling the box down to cover, the bottom of this one. We can do like this, and then we can see, okay, it's way too big because it's rotated wrong. So we can do this, and then we can rotate it so it matches. But I think we will run into some issues here. We can do like that from the top maybe. Then we can easier do like this. You want the colliders to be as simple as possible, and cover kind of the basics. So now you can see we have something that covers the bottom here, roughly. We can actually rotate it a bit more so it aligns, something like that. By the way, I'm pushing, I'm basically just switching these tools out here, the hand, the move, the rotate, and I do that by hitting W, E, and R, basically, for the different tooling. So that was the cube in the bottom. Let's have a cylinder maybe. So we can go to the side here and we can scale that down. I'm just gonna show you. Oops, see that was, now we can do it like that. Now I just want to have, and we can remove that so we can, this is the rendering of the actual, this white thing. We can remove that so we don't see that because we don't want to see that really. So we can, why can't we scale it? It's because it needs to, we need to scale it down like this. And let's see if we can get it from here. And then we need to scale it up and scale it smaller. That was too big. So you have to settle and fiddle with this. So here we kind of have a collider thing. And if we select the top root of these colliders, we can see all of them. So now you can see that we have a collider in the bottom here and we have one in the middle. So that means when this one is tipping over, I know the collider is not perfectly aligned to this, but this might be good enough. But let's see if it works. And then we can try something else afterwards. Okay, and then we can actually go in here and we can remove these renders here. Because really we only interesting in these components, the capsule one and the box collider. So yeah, so let's see, let's try and build it again and let's see if it works now. I can show you another way of doing the collision, but this is how I typically do it, because then you can keep the colliders as simple as possible and just kind of make it good enough. Again, because if you make it way too detailed, it will perform bad. Maybe not if with one cone, but people are gonna spawn more than one. So let's see, props, street cone. Oh, see, now it's acting better, right? Oops. Okay, so we clearly have a problem. It tips over weirdly, right? But it works. It do work. So that's pretty cool. And we should also see that we can see the effect, but you can see the effect. Yeah, you can see it here actually. Okay, it might be a little too aggressive. See, this is the LOD stuff I talked about, where it's only rendering when we are close enough. This is too much because you can see that this doesn't look super good. It needs to be further away. So we can maybe change that LOD thing. Okay, so let's get back in here and let's have a look at the LOD thing and this curled thing. Let's take that even more. I think this percentage is how much it takes up on the screen. So I think when it gets to 30%, if it fills 30% of the screen or the size or something like that, I can't remember. You can look it up. But I think we can do something like this, and then we should be able to see it for longer. Anyway, that was the LOD stuff. Not really relevant for what we are doing here. So the reason it tips over, I think, is because no, that's not it. Sometimes they need to be a little bigger than you would normally do it. But can we do something like this? We can't, because then it becomes too much. Let's try this. Let's just try this quickly, and then I have some other way of doing it. Because this is a little special shape, because it's a round and yeah, and not just straight up or down. So let's try again. Yeah, so this tutorial is both about LODs and physics and props apparently. So let's see again. So it's still, you can see it acts weird, right? Acts a little weird. Okay, I have another idea. So what you can also do is, instead of having this, if we just disable this one, we can put on something called mesh collider. And so that will do it, and will create a collider based on a mesh. And when it's a physics object, it has to be this convex thing, meaning it makes it simpler basically. And we can see some green lines in a moment that shows the collider. But to make this one, it needs a mesh, because it creates the colliders based on a mesh, where before we only had, you know, boxes and cylinders. And I think I saw something, yeah, there is something called cone LODs. So you can see this one is way too big for some reason, but this one fits. And here you can see it becomes simpler and simpler because it's from the LODs. So for colliding purposes, we could just take this one. Again, this is very specific to an LOD shape thingy, but this collider is better, but performance-wise, it's also a little more expensive, I think. But let's try it. Again, remember this convex thing, because if you don't have that one, it won't work in physics, for instance, for example, because it will Unity don't support that anymore, and it's also way too performance intensive. So this one, we need to check that off. Let's see again. So props are actually very easy, you know. Have a prefab, put a rigid body and some colliders on to mimic the physics shape of the mesh, of the model, and yeah, do a definition, and there you go. Now we are just tweaking it as you would do in your case. So let's see if it works better now. Props. See now it acts better, right? You can see it's acting more. It's actually a pretty cool prop actually. Somebody should actually create this prop mod if we don't have it already, if this isn't used already. They're pretty cool. So now it actually seems to be working. Let's just try something. Again, when you're creating props, you need to test them, you know, as people would do. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's okay. Seems fair enough. Why can't I pick it up? We can also do another test. We can save here and then we can load it. See, that doesn't work. It should load something, but it's not. And that's because we are missing something. Okay, collider wise, at least we are good to go now. So we can delete these other colliders and then just have this one. So that's perfect. So the other thing we can do, maybe we should, let me just check here, because I actually can't remember. Do we have a prop in here? No, we don't. Let's just see, I just want to see something. Colliders, impact sound, we can do that, erase and savable. Ah, okay. We're also missing something else. We are missing something for multiplayer. But I have a fix for that. Because right now, if we played it multiplayer, this one would not work. Others won't see it because it's not network enabled. So what we need to do now is that we right click on our prefab and then we say Fireworks Mania and add network components. Then it adds a network object, which is, it have to be a network object. And then there is a client network transform, which is the one that makes it, we can move it around and other people can see it. And then there's a rigid body that does something with the rigid body network wise. So now it should also work network wise. What we also should do is that we should have a savable entity on it. And that is used for this to be part of a blueprint. So the blueprint needs to know what entity this is. So we need to tell it that it's this entity definition. So this one knows when it saves what it is, and we can also see it needs to save the transform data, which is the position and rotation and stuff like that. So this one is needed for it to be usable in a blueprint. That was the save and load thing I did before that didn't work. We can test that in a moment again. And if we want to be able to erase it, we can also browse our way in here, Fireworks Mania. Is it common? No, it's not. Is it, whoops, is it behaviors? Yes. Is it others? Yes. Erasable behavior. So we can do like this, and now we can also delete it. So that's pretty cool. Let's try and build the mod again. So now, of course, we can't, oh, let's just save that. Now we can't test it multiplayer because I only have one client running here, but it should work. But you, of course, have to test that with some friends. And you can do that by saving this file and they just place it in this same folder on their machine, and then you can actually test it in multiplayer. Files in this local folder will always be loaded. No matter what, as it is right now. So even though I have 0 mods here, all the local mods in that folder is still loaded in, and you can see it here. If you open the console, you can see it says initializing dear Laumania street prop. So let's see, let's try and spawn it again. Yes, we can also spawn it like this. Perfect. Yes. What about the LOD? Because we changed that. Remember, we changed it so we should get a little further away before they removed. Yeah, it works better. They're still rendered. Okay, maybe they never go out because we changed the call to 0%. But that's okay. That's fine. That's okay. We can set that to 1 maybe. But anyway, so let's try and save it now. And let's try and load it. See? It works. Perfect. Can we delete it? Yes, yes, yes. Perfect. So that also works. So another thing is, it have no sound. There's no sound. So how do we fix that? Well, we go into the prefab and we add a impact sound. Oops. Play sound on impact behavior. guess what that do. And then the game comes with some default impact. Wastework impact, pipeline, blah blah blah, defaults. So there is a default impact, or we could take, it's not a large, medium. Let's try the default. So now we have the default impact sound. Let's try and build it again. Oh, let me just change the LOD things also. Again, the LOD thing, I don't know if it was smart for me of including that in this tutorial, because it's not really something you need. So everything I said about LODs here, that's not needed to make a prop. It's just an extra thing. But it is actually an important thing for performance, really, because the less stuff the game needs to render, the more smooth it runs. So yep. So let's see here. And believe me, people will complain if they don't have 200 FPS at all times. Okay, so let's listen now. Let's stop the music and let's turn it up a bit, maybe, so we can hear better. Oh. So that also works. Let's see if the LOD thing's a little better now. And yeah, the game comes with some default impact sounds you can just use as I just did, but you can also create your own game sound definition and have your own file included in the mod and then use that as an impact sound. I don't know why they're not. Are they? Yeah, I think they are gone now. No, I think they're gone now. I think so. Anyway, so that was impact. That was pretty cool. So let's maybe do one more. Let's take a look. So this one works. I would like, just because I think it could be pretty funny to have one of these with the lights on. Oh, that's just a light on top of it. Barrel. So okay, so we have to put it ourselves. I just wanted to have one of these with the lights on. I don't know if they come with a could try and do a barrel and then put a light on it. So we could take should we take the LOD version again? Let's try and not take an LOD version this time, just to keep it simpler. So let's do like this. So we drag in this one, then we call it Laumania Street Prop Barrel Prefab. And then we go down to our prefab and we take down this one. No, we don't, because we need to, because what I was about to do now was, you can see I drag it down here and then ask if we should make an original prefab or we should do a variant. I think original prefab will do the same as I'm doing now, but I'm not sure, so I don't want to click it. Again, this prefab here, if we select it and hit select, we can see that it references this one in the collection here. And we actually want to have our own, really. We don't have to, but I think that's better, so we can work a little more with it. So instead, let's right click, prefab, unpack. Now it's not blue anymore, because now it's not a prefab, but we can then do like this, and then we have a prefab. And let's go in here and let's create a little image, so we have that. Perfect. And let's create our, we can actually copy this one, and then we can say barrel, isn't that the name? And then we can hit that one, go up here, set name as ID, so it's called barrel. We can find the Laumania barrel prefab. We can say barrel, barrel, and we can find the barrel there, and it's still a prop. So it's the same. So this one should again work, but it doesn't work because, you know, let's delete this one also, because it doesn't have all these things. So let's do it all again. So we are in here, and let's see. Why is it actually, so that's the bottom. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. So let's first give it a rigid body. Let's say this one is a little heavier. Let's say like 15 kilograms. And let's do a mesh collider. I'm not sure it will work super well. Let's see. Let's see if we have a barrel mesh thingy. Yeah, that could work. So the rubber thing have, okay. So let's just take the simplest one, which is the 4 one, and then we also want to have another one, because you could see there was one for the bottom thing, for the rubber thing here. And the reason we can't see it now is because I forgot to click on this one. And then we have here, and then we have this. So now we actually have, you know, see you have kind of a collider here that matches the shape roughly. So that's fine. Let's do a savable entity, and let's say that it's the barrel, so we can save it and all that. Let's make it erasable, so we can delete it. Okay, we can't do that because we need first to, we forgot that, we need to make it network enabled. So we go to the prefab, right click, Fireworks Mania, add components, then we have all this, perfect, and then we can do a erasable component. Yep. So now we can delete it. It's network enabled, we can save and load it, it has colliders, and it have a rigid body, so it works with physics. So that's kind of the checklist. Do we need more? I can't remember if we forgot something. Let's see here. Oh, play on impacts, of course. Impacts. So let's do impact. So this is, like I'm doing here, is what you would do like when you're doing mods. You know, go through, do I have it all, test it, does it work? Let's go with a general medium, or actually maybe, yeah, medium, just to have another impact sound on this one. And before, no, let's test this. It's always a good idea, change a little, test it, change a little more, test it. Because by doing it that way, you know when things are breaking. Because I want to have this light on top of it, just for the fun of it. So let's see. Build it, yep. And let's see here. Oh, I can see that the video is 37 minutes long, but hey, you learn stuff, hopefully. And actually learn more than just props. So here we have the new one. Let's see. Okay, that sound doesn't fit. I don't know if you can hear it. That sound is way too small. So I'm gonna change that. Can we save it? Yes, works too. This is actually pretty important. Yes, okay, so the sound is wrong. We don't want to have that. Oops. Fuck. Okay. Let's take some music again. Barrel. Whoops. Not that one. So the impact sound should be changed. We want to have the default impact. That was better. Or the large one, maybe. Let's take the large one. Okay, let's try that. So let's go down to this one and say the barrel lights. So let's take the clean light here. And let's see. Now I dragged this prefab from down here. Let's see if that was a good idea, but I think so. Oh, let's see. Okay, let's see. Where is it? Where is it? 0, 0, 0. Here it was. Okay. So we can go in here and place it. I don't know where it will be sitting in real life. It would be sitting here, I guess. Okay. It goes on top of that. Or what? Yeah, in our case it does. I don't know if it actually sits here or... Yeah. On my barrel, it sits right here. Okay, perfect. And we can also see it actually shines light a bit. It glows a bit, hopefully, but it doesn't actually have any light. But you can see that. Let's try this. And should we have? We could put on a collider on this one too, but do we need that? Let me show you how you could do this to keep it simple. Because this top light here, if you want to have a little, we could do, let me just show you how you could do it. So you could basically just do like this. And then, yeah, let's see if we can do like something like this here. Yeah, we could do something like this. It would be fine. It would be good enough. It will still be so that things that are flying around would be hit by this little light. And it's a simpler mesh, collider mesh, than having an actual mesh. This square thing, a box thing is more simple. Let's try and do like this. And let's see how it looks in game. So now we fixed the impact sound, changed the impact sound, and we changed we added this light on top of it. And again, as I said, how I'm doing it here, you would do the exact same thing. Add stuff, build it, test it in game, exactly like I'm doing here. You might not talk as much as I do here, because that would be weird, I guess, but kind of make it better tutorial when I'm saying what I'm thinking. So let's go in again. And let's see. So let's see here. So we go to props, we go to our street barrel. Let's hear the sound, by the way. Better sound, better sound. See how nice it looks with this little, I don't know why I like this little glowing things. So you see it actually looks pretty nice. But you also see that it doesn't actually shine light. You know, there's no yellow light going out of this one. So how do we fix that? Well, the reason it does like that is because the material here is kind of emitting light visually. So like you can see it looks shiny, and if we turned up the bloom, you would see it even more. But it doesn't actually send out light dynamically in the game. So to do that, we have to add a light. So we could add a point light, and then we have to place it. Let's just go up here. The way I move around like this is just I hold down right mouse button, then I can move around like this, and then with ASDW I can fly around like this. So let's move this light up here to the center of the light. See, it's right here, and you can see right now the distance that this light is shining is very long. It's like 10 meters. So how would this really glow? It would maybe glow like, let's say 2 meters. And intensity, let's try with 1 first. And then we have to pick the color. And I think I would take the color from here. So, and we can say render mode. I would typically put not important, because of course you think your prop is important. Of course it is, but but a cone like a barrel and something like this is not actually important, you know, when you are far away. I don't know actually what Unity does based on this, but by telling it's not important, I'm pretty sure Unity will do something to kind of down prioritize this if something else more important is going off, like fireworks, for instance, in this case. And typically when you're doing something like this, you don't want to have shadow on. You can make this cast shadow. It will look much better, but it will also be very, very performance intensive. So if you don't want people to have FPS, just put this on. But no, seriously, only do it when really needed. And often for stuff you do, like props and stuff like that, you don't need shadows on. Not even the street lamps in the map have shadows on, exactly for the performance reasons. And you most likely haven't noticed it, even if you played the game for years. But anyway, so now we have a light on. You can see it. Yeah, we can actually see it in here. when we turn this one here, shows real life or kind of editor light. So if we take this one like this, then we actually see the light here, and you can see the difference, right? See, it actually shines down here and it shines out. Maybe just so it's a bit clear, let's maybe do it intensity 2. Intensity 2 might be a little too much, but let's see. So let's build it again. And now we have a barrel with a light on top of it, actually shining light. And I think that would look pretty cool. And a good thing to test also is when you're doing a prop or fireworks for that matter, is to performance test it by spawning a ton of them to make sure the game holds up. Or your prop holds up, basically. Let's see. So, normal street. Let's go in here. And let's say you see? Now you see the lights here actually shining out. We can argue if it's too much or too little. Maybe we should take down the intensity to 1 or 1.5 and increase the distance a little maybe. I think that would look better. As you can see also when we move it close to the house here, you can actually see. And if we do like this, whoops, now I have to work backwards here, but you can also see it's shining up on the character here. So looks pretty sweet. And as I said, let's press F3 and let's see how it goes. And so far it goes pretty good. Again, just poor man's what is it called? Performance testing here. Yeah, and it's fine. So it works. We will most likely see a little drop in FPS when we blow them up, but let's try. I think actually it could be a pretty cool pack, this one. Okay, and there we go. Perfect. So, yeah, that's how you do a prop. And basically we could continue tweak the lights, tweak the range, tweak the impact sound. Yeah, do more stuff, as you can see here if we go down to the package again. And feel free to use this package, because I don't know if anybody did it yet, but there's a lot of cool things in here. There's even an old one and the new ones, and also these ones that they would of course be like very heavy physics wise, but they could be pretty cool to build up something you can hide behind when doing some major explosions. But anyway, so that was how to create a prop, and yeah, that's it. Happy modding, and see you in the next video. Bye.